Welcome to the Maasto Fitness podcast. Today in episode 17, we are going to talk about pre-cooling and what you can do before you race on those hot days to help you stay cooler. So this is a quick hit podcast where we keep them short and to the point, focusing on the things you can do off the bike to race faster and safer on race day. At Maasto Fitness, we work with racers remotely in the real world. Many have a life full of commitments and don't have a lot of time to train on the bike or ride. We provide training off the bike, so days on the bike, whether riding or racing, are faster and safer. So, like I said, this week we are talking all about pre-cooling. Now, what is pre-cooling? Simply put, pre-cooling is a technique used by athletes, historically endurance athletes, so athletes racing for a long duration of time. And that's anything that I would consider over a couple of minutes. So motocross, sprint enduro, hare scramble, enduro. In the non-motorized world, it would be cycling, rowing, some type of endurance event, whatever it could be. It could be auto racing. Those are all things that I would consider pre-cooling to be a good strategy to use. And what pre-cooling does is it helps lower the body's core temperature before the start of the race. So this can delay the onset of heat-induced fatigue and improve overall performance. Now, on a hot day, first and foremost, being fit and prepared is always your best strategy. Pre-cooling is a great way to help give that extra 1 or 2% or help give you a little bit of an extra edge as well. So you can think of pre-cooling like that. It's not going to make up for a lack of fitness or being prepared, but it's going to definitely help you on those hot days curb that intensity when it's really warm out. And I know for me in the Midwest, Michigan here, it's right now it's May 2024, and we've already had days over 80 degrees Fahrenheit in the state. So I would say for me right now, the warm weather is here. Now let's talk about different methods of pre-cooling, different things you can do. And I would say there's a couple more than what I'm going to list here. And I would say, though, these are the most practical for us at races, something that I feel that could be implemented for basically any racer. So first is an ice vest. It's basically a vest that has ice packets in it, and you can wear these for a specific duration before the race. The benefits of an ice vest include cooling the upper body, and they can be worn while warming up. So you'll stay cooler without impacting your warm-up. It's really important to warm up the body before you race, kind of prepare it for battle. And the ice pack, though, is going to help you warm up those muscles, get everything working in fluid, get the cardiovascular system started without really overheating you before the race starts. Next would be basically a cooling garment, which you can kind of like really, this is a really broad one, but essentially it's got some type of built-in cooling benefit to it, helps pull moisture away from your body. Maybe you can add ice packs to it, but essentially it's just going to help your body not absorb the heat and help pull it away or help keep you cool. Similar to an ice vest, these garments help reduce skin and core temperature, and they're convenient to wear during pre-activity races, so pre-race activities. So for me, one thing that I would say that you can implement is making sure to wear something synthetic, not cotton, something that will help pull moisture away from your body before your race, when you're warming up, walking around, pre-race, whatever. So I would suggest staying away from the heat, getting some type of an athletic top and wearing that, because that's going to help pull moisture away from you and help you stay cool. When we wear cotton, kind of absorbs the sweat, keeps a wet shirt, doesn't help cool us. You wear something that's like an athletic, a performance shirt, performance shorts, it's going to help pull that moisture away, help keep you cooler. So once again, if you're warming up, make sure to not wear that cotton, wear something athletic. It's going to help keep you cooler. Now the next one, this is a big one, and one that I implement at every single warm race, and that's cold fluid ingestion. So you consume cold beverages, or it could even be like slushy, icy cold, partially frozen drinks before the race. So for me personally, on warm race days, I consume nothing warm. If you know me at all, you know coffee is like a really important part of my life. I drink coffee every day, sometimes a little later in the morning than I should. I just love coffee. It's always been just like a thing that I enjoy so much. And so on race day, I do not have hot coffee. I have iced coffee, and I make sure that I'm having iced coffee because I want something that is cooler for me, and not heating up my body. So my typical warm race day breakfast, just for example, is I'm having iced coffee, and I keep it really simple because I always want race day to be as simple as possible in terms of other tasks. I just make my coffee the night before, put it in the fridge, put it in the cooler, whatever it may be, and then it's just cooled off in the morning. It's not hot, but it's still the same delicious coffee that I absolutely love and need. And then for my meal, I have oatmeal, and I have oatmeal cold also. Same deal. I use make ahead oats. So essentially, I'm just taking the same oatmeal that I would have race morning and make, except I make it the night before, put it in the fridge, basically put the oats, the water, whatever other things I'm going to put in there, a little bit of protein powder, maybe a tiny bit of chia seed, some peanut butter and fruit, and then put it in the fridge, let it expand overnight as it would on the stovetop. And then race morning, I have a cold oatmeal breakfast as well. So I think pre-cooling with food is a great one, because it's just going to help keep you cooler, and it's something really simple you can do. And I think with a little bit of prep, especially if you want to keep things simple, which is what I always suggest on race day, you can have a nice cool breakfast race morning, not heat you up too much. And then finally, one of the nicer ones, if you have the luxury, is air conditioning or fans. So staying in an air-conditioned environment and using cooling fans prior to the race, simple as that. This method can help reduce overall body temperature and maintain comfort before heading out into the heat. Now, like I said, being fit, being prepared, super important, but these couple of things will help just kind of give you that 1 or 2 extra percent. So as fun as it may be to go out and hang out and talk with people before the race, maybe spend a little bit more time inside if you've got the RV or the camper or whatever rig you've got. If you've got AC, spending a little time in there is just going to help. It's not going to decrease your performance. It's going to help your performance. The heat adaptation, which is something we're going to talk more about next week, that doesn't happen in the minutes or hours before a race. It would make no difference at that point. So really helping keep the body cool is going to be our best defense. And another one, which I think I see some racers do this, some not. I know I personally do, is if you're going to the starting line and you're going to be hanging out for a while, grab an umbrella and have someone bring an umbrella to the line with you and just put that over you. Help provide a little bit of shade, keep that sun off of you, keep you just a little bit cooler. And these are just like the little last minute things you can do. So for me, I've always got an umbrella with me, as long as I have someone with me at the race, to just bring it to the line and help me stay just a little bit cooler instead of sitting out in that sun, just having that heat radiating on me before I'm about to go out there and give it my all, and basically be at the top range of my heart rate zones for what I can sustain for whatever the duration of the race is. So the umbrella, definitely a good final thing you can do. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the benefits of pre-cooling. So by lowering the core temperature, pre-cooling can delay that onset of heat-related fatigue, allowing you, the racer, to perform at a higher intensity for a longer period, which is ultimately what we all want on race day. Next, comfort. Feel more comfortable and less stressed when you're in a cool environment or keeping your body cool. So basically, heat, maybe a little bit more nerves, cool, keep the body a little bit cooler, literally. So you can think of that as well. If you struggle with race day nerves, pre-cooling techniques when it's warm may help curb that a little bit and have you feeling a little bit more at ease. And then when we're racing, it reduces the rating of perceived exertion. So basically how hard it feels like we're going. We could be doing the same effort at the same heart rate, but if it's hotter out, it feels a lot harder because the body's working harder. It's working harder to try to cool itself to be able to work those muscles while we're flying through the woods, across the track, whatever it may be. So pre-cooling going to help kind of decrease that effort, how it feels, especially early on in the race if you've done pre-cooling. And then pre-cooling can also help a little bit with just your heart rate in general, starting out. So we're able to basically, through pre-cooling, especially if you're like able to hang out in a cool environment or have a fan on you, you'll have a little bit lower of a heart rate because the body's not working as hard to keep itself cool before you race. So then you're able to start out with maybe not so much as an extreme heart rate, but still with a proper warm-up, you'd be able to get right to where you need to be while lowering that rating of perceived exertion. Now, let's talk about a couple of things with pre-cooling and when you would want to do that before your race. So I think first, it's important you need to find a method that works for you. I talked about all these methods, but you got to find the one that works for you. What's practical, what's realistic, and through maybe a little bit of trial and error, which one works the best for you. Ideally, pre-cooling, you'd want to be done 20 to 30 minutes before the race starts. So you don't want to go like straight from the rig or the motorhome straight to the starting line. You'd ideally be done with it 20 to 30 minutes before, then be heading out. So we're not going from one extreme to the other. We're kind of letting the body still get a little bit used to the environment we're about to be racing in. And then it's important to remember that athletes respond differently to different pre-cooling methods. So you definitely don't want to do anything extreme. You don't want to like submerge yourself in ice before you race, or you don't want to do something that's so cold you're uncomfortable. So it's important for you to find the method that works best for you and give it a couple tries, especially if you can in training, before you implement it on race day. And then logistics, like I said, for me, for example, there's no motorhome, there's no camper, no rig. I have a van, and the only way I would have AC is having it running. So it might not be the best or most efficient method for me to pre-cool. Better to have something cold around my neck warming up, some athletic clothing helping pull moisture away from my body while I'm warming up, and then eating and drinking cool fluids would be like the best for me. So make sure you're doing something that's realistic and it can be implemented without too much logistics on race day, because I think that's really important. We don't want to make things complex. Pre-cooling should help cool and make things better, not make some crazy extra step for you as you get ready to race. And then finally, there's the environmental conditions. The temperature, the humidity, those all can affect the effectiveness of pre-cooling. So tailoring the approach to your specific conditions to where you're at is super important. So just because someone else somewhere else in the US, the world said it worked, doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work great for you. So make sure you're doing something that is good for you. And that's really it on pre-cooling. Essentially, it's just important to find a method that works for you, be done with it 20 to 30 minutes before you race. And then I think definitely eating and ingesting cooler things on race day also helps. So help give you that little extra 1 or 2% as you get out there and race, which is what we all really want. Now, next week, we're going to kind of flip the switch, still talk about hot days, but talk about how to prepare your body for the heat. Because like I said, pre-cooling, something we can do race morning closer to the race. But nothing that is going to make like a physiological change in our body or have us prepared. So next week, I'm going to talk about what we can do to ensure our body is adapted for racing in the heat so that we're able to have our best race day in the heat and be able to sustain in those conditions. And that's all I've got for you guys today, but always keep in mind that Maasto Fitness, we build strength, endurance, and mobility training for racers and riders, and we have tons of nutrition and hydration guides, as well as a monthly call for all of our racers to get any questions answered. So no matter what program you're on, I'm here to answer your questions every month. Something you want to give a try out a week, I can hook you up with a free week of our single jump training program. Just send me a message on Instagram and I'll get you rolling. See you guys next week.